Hey, let's talk seriously for a moment. There's a growing crisis that isn't just a statistic, it's a reality lived by millions of men around the world every single day. A silent epidemic, often overlooked and rarely discussed with the gravity it deserves. Male loneliness. And the uncomfortable truth is this: it's largely our fault. Not in the sense of blame, but in the sense of responsibility. Because once we stop pointing fingers and start looking inward, we find that the barriers to connection, friendship, intimacy, and even basic belonging are often ones we've unknowingly built ourselves. We live in an era of hyperconnectivity, yet more men than ever feel isolated, invisible, and emotionally starved. Why? Because many of us were never taught how to form meaningful relationships, not just with others, but with ourselves. From a young age, boys are often socialized to suppress vulnerability. We're taught to be tough, to be stoic, to be providers, but not to feel, not to express, and definitely not to seek help. And so, as adults, many of us walk around as emotional amputees, unable to articulate what we need, unable to form deep bonds, and afraid of appearing weak. This emotional illiteracy is the first brick in the wall that separates us from genuine human connection. One of the most overlooked contributors to loneliness is a lack of empathy, both inward and outward. Empathy is the bridge between isolation and connection. It allows us to see others not as obstacles, threats, or tools for validation, but as full human beings with thoughts, emotions, and lives as complex as our own. But many men struggle with this because we've been conditioned to see the world through a self-preservation lens. We view every interaction in terms of value. What do I gain from this? How does this benefit me? Why should I invest emotionally? This inward, self-centered perspective doesn't just repel others, it reinforces loneliness, because the truth is, connection thrives not on utility, but on mutual vulnerability and care. In the age of social media, dating apps, and algorithmic gratification, it has become easy to commodify relationships, and men in particular are vulnerable to adopting harmful narratives about what relationships should look like. There's an entire ecosystem of content online that preys on male loneliness and turns it into resentment. It tells you women are the problem, the world is rigged against you, only looks, height, and money matter, emotional vulnerability is weakness. But none of this helps you build genuine relationships. In fact, it does the opposite. It isolates you further, turning you against the very people you claim to want connection with. I say all of this with experience, not judgment. There was a time I felt like I was doomed. I thought I was too short, too unattractive. I internalized every insecurity and wore them like a cage. I wasn't hateful or entitled, but I did feel like love and connection were things I could never have, and I hated myself for that. But the turning point came when I stopped focusing on what I lacked and started working on what I could control. Things like my health, my self-image, my ability to communicate, my financial independence, and most importantly, I stopped seeking validation from others and started validating myself through discipline, growth, and integrity. Ironically, once I stopped chasing connection so desperately and started focusing on becoming someone worth connecting with, everything changed. Every relationship I've had since then, whether romantic or platonic, came from people approaching me. Because connection is magnetic. Confidence, empathy, and self-awareness are magnetic. Let's address another harsh truth. The rise of involuntary celibacy is not just about dating apps or physical appearance. It's about mindset. Yes, looks and height play a role in attraction, but the fixation on these traits becomes toxic when it leads to fatalism. Statements like, "I'll never be loved," or "women only want tall guys," or "there's no point in trying." This belief system doesn't just reflect insecurity, it reinforces inaction. Most self-identified incels are not hideous. They are underdeveloped. They don't invest in themselves. They don't grow. They don't heal. Instead, they feed each other despair in online echo chambers and turn their pain into hatred. This is tragic, but it is also avoidable. Let's not pretend modern dating isn't flawed. The concept of wholeflation, where dating standards appear to have plummeted, and emotional intimacy is traded for instant gratification. It is real. But here's the thing, if hookup culture has lowered standards, then why are some people still struggling to find even basic connection? Because dating is not just about access, it's about value. And if you present yourself with low self-worth, emotional immaturity, or hidden resentment, you will be filtered out, no matter how many apps you swipe on. In an age of low standards, it actually takes more depth to stand out. Here's the unsexy, unglamorous truth. The solution to male loneliness is not in a pill, a podcast, or a TikTok hack. It's in the slow, hard daily work of becoming a better man. Learning to listen without fixing, showing up for your friends, speaking honestly about your feelings, treating others with curiosity and respect, holding yourself to a higher standard. This isn't about becoming alpha, it's about becoming authentic. Male loneliness is real, it's painful, and it's dangerous, but it's not irreversible. The more we take responsibility for our part in it, the habits we form, the walls we build, the lies we believe, the more power we reclaim. Connection is a skill, so is empathy, so is self-worth. They can be practiced, they can be learned, and most importantly, they can be rebuilt. So let this not be a video you watch and forget. Let this be the conversation that finally makes you stop scrolling, take a breath, and ask yourself, am I contributing to my own isolation? And am I ready to change that? Because you deserve connection, but only if you're willing to earn it. If this resonated with you, talk to someone today. Message a friend, apologize, open up, or just ask, how are you really? And listen. Connection starts small, but it starts with you, and it starts now.